and welcome to Two Mics, One Mic podcast, where two mics talk on a mic about life. I am one of the mics, Michael Joseph Kunzel Magna Jr., and with me is the other mic, Michael Anthony Zarzana.
And this is MAZ and MJC, and this is the place to be to talk about everything.
We're back after 1 week because we missed a week.
Because you were disgustingly sick.
Because I was disgustingly sick, but in this week's time, I feel a million times better.
Do you?
I think my nose, I can breathe again.
Can you?
I can. I'm not tasting boogers constantly.
You still taste boogers, but...
well, that's by choice now. It's not just because it's dripping down my throat.
Disgusting.
And I got to see Batman v Superman.
Okay.
A little bit of a catch-up.
Okay, real quick.
Yeah.
And it's funny because everybody thought it was, well, the 40, 50 people that listened to us. Loved when you left, and I sped like a speed talking. And I told them what I thought. They thought that was hysterical.
Honestly, you did good, because after I saw the movie, I went back and listened to your account.
Oh, after?
No, after.
Oh,
yeah, after I saw the movie, because I wanted to see what you had to say. I wanted to say, how badly did he ruin my show? And you didn't.
Your show. Fuck you. It's our show.
Well, you're the one that played the April Fool's joke that you were leaving the show. Which was yesterday, by the way. Mike was leaving the show. He was getting a paid gig from another show, which I should have realized was a joke, because who would pay to sit next to this guy?
I'm beautiful.
Yeah, but you smell.
Yeah, so.
That's right, all right. Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. I hate the title. But the movie isn't as bad as everybody's saying. Like, I went there with my wife. I had an enjoyable experience watching the movie. Zack Snyder is visually really good.
Mm-hmm.
And when the movie started, the whole opening dream sequence with Batman, it's almost like when I was watching Watchmen again. The best part of the movie, or the best, more emotional parts of his movies, are his credit sequences.
And his dream sequences.
Zack Snyder knows how to frame a beautiful picture. He's always done the slow motion action thing. It's getting a little old. It's been now like 10 years of this. I think he needs to pull a little more tricks out of the bag. However, when he showed Batman in action, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I did, like you said before, these are superhero people. They're punching each other, they're throwing each other. The Superman, Wonder Woman, Doomsday battle, it had cool moments, but overall it was really too much and choppy. Really choppy.
The thing is, they but I understand, it's easy to rip it, but the point is to show Doomsday kill. Basically, he was getting killed a few times and regenerating.
Yeah.
They used the power thing.
Yeah, and he kept exploding and the lightning and.
But what would they let him sit there, lay down, wait, back up?
I think they made his height so tall when he first showed up. They could have had him grow as well if they wanted to show an evolution. Because when he first showed up, he looked like a friggin' ogre from The Lord of the Rings. He was so tall.
He was a troll.
A troll.
In the cave.
Yeah.
He's a cave troll.
Yeah.
A split nose. But he didn't look like that at the very end. He looked a little bit better.
No, they changed him. They put the spikes on. Obviously, it's how he...
Did you notice his crotch?
Spoiler alert, it's how he killed Superman.
If you didn't see it, I don't care.
Yeah.
Did you see his crotch? Now, I'm only pointing this out because two people came up to me.
Yeah. He doesn't have clothes on.
No shit. His crotch came down like a Barbie, like a Ken doll.
Yes.
There was a slit. There's a little slit in his crotch. So Doomsday is a woman. Just throwing that.
I watched it in 3D and I didn't see anything poking.
Yeah, you watched it in 3D. Did you see these movies in fucking 3D?
I went to the AMC. This is the first time I ever went to the AMC Dining Theater. It was the only time available with seats that me and my wife could sit next to each other.
Oh God.
So I clicked on the 7:30 show. We went. It was the first time in a dining theater. I had a good experience. The prices were a little, I thought, much for the food, but the food was not too bad.
I only go to the diner.
You know what? We did drink though. We had alcohol because we could. So even though we spent over $60 on food, it was all right because we got to drink while we watched the movie.
What's the orange juice champagne? I order every time I go there.
Mimosas.
I get 4 mimosas.
You homosexual.
Mimosas are fabulous.
You homosexual.
Why am I homosexual?
Because you go to a movie to drink a mimosa. Not that there's anything wrong with being homosexual, but there are certain things that are a little softer.
You're a homosexual. Anyway.
Only on Wednesday.
Every day.
That's right.
Mimosas, let me tell you, they make them great. They use like that cheap Andre crap, which I wouldn't even call champagne. I looked into the kitchen when they were doing it. And they use,
why would you look in the kitchen?
Because I wanted to know, Sunny D. Fucking Sunny D.
It's not even real orange juice.
That's the thing. I usually get a little heartburn from too much orange juice. It's smooth.
Acid.
So you sit there and you're like, ooh, and you get nice and warm.
Yeah.
And then, your little buzz, but not like a drunk buzz where it's like, I don't know.
No.
And I have that. I had, my only negativity is they had these delicious Parmesan mozzarella sticks. We always got them. Everybody got them. They took it off the menu.
They
cut the menu in half. They said they're most popular. I go, stop that right now. Stop that with the most popular, because that's the most popular. You added some fucking crabby ass shitbag salad where you had the mozzarella sticks.
Well, I don't know the difference. I had a ranchero burger. That was pretty good.
It's a ranchero burger.
It was really good. The fries were a little too salty. but the seating was nice. They didn't interrupt us. Like you say, they always come and interrupt you near the end of the movie.
There's more seats in the fucking screen than there are in the cinema suites.
Oh, all right. So I was in fork and screen.
You were in cinema suites.
Cinema suites with the big ass chairs.
Yes.
And the buttons.
The recliners, yes.
Yeah, the recliners.
Because they're always 3D.
Yeah.
So they used to not be. They used to like mix it up, but now it's only 3D. Which they got to stop the fucking 3D movies. No, really, real quick, everybody, Hollywood. If it's not filmed in 3D, stop the fucking 3D. Not everything needs to be in 3D. It doesn't look good, especially I'm sure that fucking Doomsday fight did not look great.
It was a little much.
All right.
But there are certain aspects that were okay. I actually forgot I was watching it in 3D because the first half of that movie is a lot of
nothing
exploratory setup, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, when Lex is in his office talking to the senator, it's like...
All right, give me Lex, real quick.
I didn't hate him as much as everybody hated him.
But you didn't love him either.
I didn't love him either. And I think it's mainly the story's fault. It's... Here's the thing about Batman v Superman. If you don't know comic movies or you're just don't know comics and you're just going to see a movie, don't see the movie. I would tell you flat out, do not see the movie. You're not going to like the movie. If you don't have a pre-existing knowledge of the DC universe, and I mean, I guess they assume that everybody knows who Batman and Superman is, which you can, and I guess to a certain extent Wonder Woman, but this goes even further to motivations of characters, of Lex Luthor and even Batman and even Superman. It plays on the stereotypes and the tropes of the comics, and if you don't know this stuff, you're not going to enjoy the movie. Like, if you don't know how Superman's supposed to be, you're not going to look at this interpretation of Superman and say, you know, this is interesting. I found it interesting because it's just a sequel to Man of Steel. The world doesn't know who Superman is. There was a lot of destruction in Metropolis. They're not going to love this guy.
Love that first scene.
They're not going to love this guy.
Love that first scene when Batman takes a shot. That was great. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, and I thought the critics were hard on this Superman. I thought he was a good Superman. I thought he acted like a guy who wants to do good, but he's conflicted by everything he's hearing, this negativity.
Well, the problem is people have to realize they're going a more serious scenario. You know the only one that's less serious and actually has little jokes? It's fucking Batman.
Yeah.
Like, he's got the little quips.
Well, here's the thing about this movie. I think this movie was actually a gateway for DC to go less serious. Because by the end of the movie, right, it's always darkest before the dawn is a nice expression. And this is called Dawn of Justice. So there's a really dark ending. Superman dies. There's a little, you know, obviously it's Superman, and they're not going to kill off their franchise character when they have Justice League coming. So
if you've ever read a comic, he doesn't.
There'll be a return of Superman at some point.
He's going to come out black with the silver on him.
But they kill Superman.
Don't ignore me when I talk to you.
I'm not ignoring you. I'm just continuing my point.
Why are you going to forget?
They did the black coffin with the silver. Yes, and they're going to put the.
You think he's coming out long hair?
No, I don't think he's coming out with the gun. The mullet.
No.
Well, the gun maybe if Snyder's involved because he puts guns in everybody's fucking hands. Batman is a murderer, by the way. You said it was just manslaughter.
No.
Straight up.
Who'd he kill with his hands?
Dude, he straight up shoots cars apart in half.
Shoots cars.
That is murder.
Nope. Shoots cars.
It's murder.
Nope. He shot cars.
Running your car into a truck. On top of guys.
Jump out of the truck.
Is murder.
Jump out of the truck.
Absolute murder.
Jump out of the truck.
He's a murderer. He's a murderer.
It's self-defense, actually, technically.
No, he's chasing them down. That's not self-defense. Self-defense is when you are protecting yourself from someone. Look, we're getting off track here. I want to get back to my point about the DC universe, cinematic universe, and how this movie is a gateway for them to get lighter. Because they go so dark, and they talk about how people hate Superman so much and they mistrust him, that when he gives his life for them, a la the Christ figure, they all of a sudden, it's like all sins are forgiven. They're like, oh, we didn't know how good we had it till he was gone, kind of thing. Which opens the door now for this universe to go, all right, we'll be more accepting about heroes. We're going to be more accepting about their role in the world. We don't have to be so uber serious going forward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we introduce concepts like Wonder Woman's been around for 100 years. So it's not, you know, and just real quick, so that's just my take. We have a guest today that we have to get to in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Vincent Monteleone. He wrote a book called Dying to Live.
Say his name again.
Monteleone.
Nice.
Vincent J. Monteleone on the book.
What's the J stand for?
Joseph.
Should have guessed that one.
But I before we get into Vin, I just want to talk about what it means for the show to have a guest. This is a really exciting day for me. Real exciting day for the show. It's a promise that we made to ourselves that we were going to open the show up to more guests. We want to bring in more people. We want some fan feedback, which we got from Austin, Texas this week. We had other people.
Yes.
We had people reach out to us from Austin, Texas, asking how they can help out the show, which is great. I love the fact that people want to help. me and Mike are still finding our footing, and we'll definitely keep an ear out for that.
I'm not finding my footing. I feel I'm fantastic.
All right, whatever. But
I'm just saying, fucking tastic.
But it's also a promise of the show, because the show is not just about comics, and it's not just about pop culture. I always wanted this show to be about more, about our lives, about our goals, about how other people achieve their goals, about the doers instead of the dreamers. So this show is going to be almost a completely different show than last week, I feel. Last week was a very comic book, geek-heavy show.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a different flavor today, which is something I'm looking forward to. Because we're not confined. We're not a comedy show. We're not one type of show. Me and Mike are a film show because that's how I make my living. I work in TV and film. And it's what brought us together in our friendship, and it's what we like to talk about. But we have a myriad of things we like to do. And this is a good step for us.
Yes, it's a beautiful step for us.
It's a beautiful step for us.
And Mike loves to talk.
Well,
if you're on YouTube.
Listen, if you don't know what
Wait. If you're on YouTube and you're watching this, it's not so much for the iTunes. If you're on YouTube and you watch this, I feel like if Mike gets touched while he's talking, he freaks.
I don't.
Like he's like. I
do have certain things I know I want to say.
And he always chops when he talks. He chops.
For the YouTube viewers, I'm touching Mike.
I got him to break. Guys.
Look how red he gets. You're like a friggin' monster.
It's warm in here.
Ooh, well, that's your fault. This is your.
I ran 5 miles today.
That's great.
Well, we're filming in an undisclosed place, which I can't say because I get in trouble. But when the air is on, it's very loud and you wouldn't be able to hear us.
Yes, it would.
So we need to sweat, baby, sweat, baby. All right. Anyway.
All right, very good. You want to introduce Vin?
Sure. Jarvis, can you throw me that book?
Get it closer.
All
right, for the YouTube. Here's the book, "Dying to Live" by Vincent J. Monteleone. It's an actual book. All right, this guy wrote a book, guys, his debut novel. When was the last time you wrote a book? I don't think so. It was published by iUniverse, www.iuniverse.com. And from Vincent's back page, it says, Vincent J. Monteleone has poured passion into writing Dying to Live, his debut novel. In 2013, he earned a business degree from Baruch College. If it's not Baruch, don't fix it. Since then, he has discovered alternatives to the view of the world he learned about in his college classes.
Clearly, you never learned to read. Anyway, Baruch.
Okay. It's not Baruch, don't fix it. It doesn't work that way.
No,
yeah.
I'm just going to call him Vin for now on. We've said it's the last name enough times. Vin is a friend of mine, and when I heard he wrote this book, I was extremely impressed. Now, let me just clarify right now, I don't read books. I read comics, I like comic novels, and I've come to realize I got through it pretty fast on my phone. I guess I don't like reading books. Actual books, whatever it is. But
you were just waiting for the technology to catch up to your brain, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. My brain was like light years away.
I love books. I grew up reading everything. From when I was 11 years old reading It to just finishing this book.
You're a thief, because that's my first book I read fully. You're a thief, and you knew it.
Well,
you fucking robbed me. It was not your first book.
Yes, oh, well, you know.
Lies on podcast. Lies in the seat. Erroneous.
We're going to tell.
Anyway, as I was saying, so I thought it was really cool, and this is usually not something that I would have probably ever asked to come on the podcast, because, like you said, it's not really a geeky thing, it's not really comic book related, it's not movie related, it's not anything that I'm really related.
Not movie related yet. You never know.
Yeah, well, yeah, I could screenplay this bitch. But anyway, I could. But I said, well, why don't you come on, it helps us out, you get to push your book. It helps us learn how to interview somebody, and if we mess up a little bit, you're not going to walk out and say, this is nonsense, and throw the book at the mic or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, but then I read it, and I read the beginning, so we'll say the first 60, 70 pages. And I texted him and said, dude, you're making me miserable. What's your problem? I'm like, what's your problem?
Yeah.
And he's like, he assured me, no, it gets better. I go, in my head, if he kills this motherfucker,
listen,
he's a real asshole.
Listen, we're not going to talk about the book.
I'm going to start on that. That's how I want
any spoilers.
I'm not giving any spoilers. I'm not giving any spoilers. I'm not going to say what happened. I'm saying just shush. Yeah. This is spoiler free. If he kills this motherfucker, I'm going to get pissed.
Yeah.
Then I finish the book. I'm not going to tell you what happens. Thanks for interrupting. Let me finish my sentence.
Just say it.
I'm not stupid, Mike.
Sometimes.
Anyway, no,
that's not debatable.
You're stupid hat.
Listen, we're going to give tests on this thing one day.
Yeah, what, on the book?
Like IQ tests, just to see if you're not stupid.
I write a book. How about I give you a test to see if you're not stupid?
How about I give you a
test?
test?
And you don't get to study. All right.
Yeah.
And your thing's gonna make sounds because you keep hitting the fucking cardboard box. Anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, at this time we'd like to bring in Vincent J. Monteleone to the Two Mics, One Mic podcast. Vin, come on in.
Come on in, Vin.
Bring your sexiness. What's up, my brother? How are you?
How you doing, Vin?
Hey.
Nice to have you. Now, like Mike said, I don't know Vin. Today's the first day I met Vin. Mike knows Vin for a little bit. But thanks for coming on. If you'd like to introduce yourself more than we've already introduced you, feel free. Just get your voice on record here.
Okay, like they said, Vincent J. Monteleone, Vin for short, and I work actually in trademark law, so I don't do anything that I went to college for.
Yes.
I work for a pharmaceutical company.
Okay,
I know you.
I work for a pharmaceutical company as well.
I served from the first time. I work Bristol Myers Squibb.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
are you on the lab or are you in sales?
No, I'm in trademark law. I work under the attorney, so I deal with all the brand.
Trademark law?
Yeah.
That's great, man.
And all that stuff. I got a job there part-time in college, and it just...
It's the fridge. Sorry.
Just stuck there.
All right.
So.
All right, we got a fridge on me, guys, just to let you know.
Continue to talk. No worries. I'll take care of that. How about that?
No, but that's great. You know what's funny about that? You don't do anything you went to college for. I no longer do anything I went to college for.
Yeah.
Like I said last week, I do. I have a bachelor's in science and chemistry. It's just funny how that works out. You know, I think college is important. But I don't think it's necessarily the answer. You know, you kind of need the degree now to get your foot in the door into a high-paying job. But college isn't what it used to be. It used to be you knew what you wanted to do, you specialized in it, and you went, and that became your life. Now it's a furthering of your adolescence. I think you mentioned it in the book, and you're absolutely 110% right. There was lots of times when I was reading your book, and I was like, this guy is right on the money with his analogies of what's going on. And I look at you, like I said, this is the first time I met you. How old of a guy are you?
I'm going to be 26, actually.
You're going to be 26 years old. You're 13 years younger than me. And when I was reading this book, I felt like I was reading a book that somebody my age wrote from the life experiences that are already in there. So that's, an amazing accomplishment to you, Vin.
Thank you.
And I have to tip my hat to that, because if you don't know what you look like, and I didn't, because you sent us a digital copy of the book, so I actually never looked at your face, even though I know I saw you on the Facebook and stuff. I don't really subscribe to photos and stuff on Facebook. I just see what people post and stuff. So I really had no idea what you looked like, how old you were, or what you were about. So just to get back to it, you do an amazing job of not being yourself or not being your life experience when you write. So that's a great sign of a good writer. You know.
But actually, that's a couple of questions I wanted to ask him. How much of this is fiction? How much of this is fact? How much is this from your real life? Because I feel like some things, it's like that's got to happen. That's had to happen to Vin. Or that just like even when they go to the same pizzeria or things of that nature. There's got to be something that's you.
Monsignor Barnabas High School. I went to Monsignor Farrell High School, so
Okay.
I go to that. My grandfather is based off my grandfather, which was actually tough because his big thing was the cell phone at the table. That's his thing now.
Yeah.
And obviously, if I'm in the book, the main character is 43 years old, so there was no cell phones when he was growing up.
No, there was definitely not.
I had to, same thing with college. When I talk about college classroom, I wanted to say he was sitting next to the seat with the outlet, because now everybody wants to charge their phone in class.
Yeah.
So I had to. That was the biggest challenge in this book. But basically, I wanted to kind of say what I wanted to do was describe my worst fears. So in the book, the guy is a very successful man. He's rich, but he finds out when it might be too late that that's all he is. All he has is money. He gave up everything he loved to do as a kid. He doesn't spend as much time with his family, and
he's rich. He's materialistically rich, but he's not spiritually or morally wise rich in any way. He's like you said, he kind of lost his way. But before we get into really the book and the characters in the book, I really want to get to know you. I want the audience to kind of get to know you. Like you said, you went to Monsignor Farrell. Did you grow up in Staten Island, or were you born in Staten Island? What's your background?
I was born in Brooklyn, but I grew up here. I've been here since I'm 3 years old.
So you don't really know Brooklyn?
Yeah. Well, my grandparents still live in Brooklyn. My parents actually grew up around the corner from each other.
That's great.
Very Italian, 100%. My grandmother's actually best friends.
Oh, nice.
They have coffee and lunch together every day.
That is so impressive.
I don't even know what it's like to see just one grandma at a time. I go see.
So your parents have been together since they were...
They started dating at 13 years old. 13. And then I guess they broke up a little bit, and then they got back together. They got married pretty young. They got married at 22 years old.
Yeah, it's so funny, Vin. Your life story is really strange because it sounds very similar to mine. My parents were on the same block. Okay. They lived on a block called West Street in Brooklyn. Right. They've been dating since they were 12 years old. They got married 2021. It's Italian, you know. It's just it seems like it was that world. Even though you're, like I said, how old are your parents now?
My parents are 52.
52. They're 10 years younger than my parents, which is like you're 10 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So it seems like Brooklyn never. I always called Brooklyn a time capsule. Because I grew up. I was born in Brooklyn. I didn't really grow up there like you. We moved around. Moved to Arizona. Moved back to Brooklyn. I got out of Brooklyn around 12 years old. You know, so 10 to 12 years old. I have to ask my parents to really remember
because he's old.
Yeah. But no, even when I was a kid, they would come around with the Saints. You put the money on the clips. Yeah. It was something like that. You don't see in America. You know, it was something like you're watching an old school movie. But that was Brooklyn. And Brooklyn never really grew up. You know. Yeah. But did you go back and visit on the weekends to your grandparents? So you have some of that background?
I had my grandfather. So my dad's dad. My mom lived on Avenue O.
Yeah.
And on the corner of Avenue O is West 4th Street.
West 4th Street.
That's where my dad lived.
Yeah.
Between O and P.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad's dad owned a business on Avenue O 2 doors down from my mom.
Yeah.
And so they knew each other, and then they met, you know, with school and everything.
Yeah.
I was West 10th Avenue. That's where I was.
Yeah, no, I just said I was West Street and Great Neck Road.
That's where all the Italians
are.
But now it's kind of sad. Now I go back. My grandfather sold the business. It's a laundromat now, so it's like...
Time eventually did catch up to the
one house, and they're putting up apartment buildings, so it's not as homey as it used to be.
Yeah. No, time caught up to Brooklyn, and honestly, time is catching up to the Americans of Italian descent. We've been here a long time now, and we're really becoming really Americanized. We're losing our culture. We really, you know, it's really up to us, people who are maybe 3rd generation, 4th generation, to try to keep it going if we grew up that way. I think there's nothing worse than forcing a culture if you don't really know it. But if you know it, and if you have those things about you, it's up to you to keep it alive. The problem with the Italians in America is they came here and they were so downtrodden. They tried to normalize themselves. They didn't want the Italian spoken. They didn't want the original Italians that came because they wanted everybody to be American. And along the way that was good because we did become American. We did become part of, like we talked about, white America. Mm-hmm. But we are different. But as the generations of the big Italian immigration end, we're losing. We're losing neighborhoods. We're losing ourselves. Staten Island's like the last bastion of Italian culture in America.
Well, Farrell was it's either you were Italian or Irish, basically. So
you weren't Jewish in Farrell.
But now we're American. That's
of course.
You know, my mother was born here. Now I'm born here. Now my kids, they're American.
Yeah.
And they have an Italian last name.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Wow, this is boring. Okay, so quick question: why the hell did you write a book? Why did you want to write a book? Is that just you've always wanted to be a writer of books?
Well, back to
you're a loud gulper. Sorry about that. Sorry.
Now back to high school. I took journalism in high school. I always liked to write and stuff. And somehow I was like, people saying, "Oh, you can't get a job in journalism," this, that. So I went to school for business, and I kind of let the writing go. I always did well in English class because I rather write an essay than take a test.
Well, what kind of writing? Was it just essay writing? Did you do poetry? How was your break into it?
I started writing sports. That's what I would have been.
Which is big in this book. A lot of sports.
A lot of sports.
Jets fans. That's why we're all wearing Jets jerseys.
But then reason. I knew I was kind of okay writing. I actually wrote something and I put it out on Facebook and I got a lot of shares. How college failed me, and that was a lot of people. If you could say, I was kind of frustrated with my college experience because I feel I kind of wasted. I actually went 5 years. It took me a little extra.
That's fine.
But I wasted wasted time not learning.
Yeah.
And I felt, especially college should really be 2 years. I think you go I took English classes that I took in high school. History, the same thing you did in high school. Maybe a little different.
But it's about money.
Yeah.
I went to college for a year and a half. I took 3 classes that I actually wanted to take, and a bunch of bullshit they wanted me to pay for. If you're going to pay for, I don't understand this. If you're paying for it yourself, or if you get a grant or something to go to school, fine. But if I'm paying for it, don't tell me what I have to take. What do you want to be? I want to be this. That doesn't help me. Or you have to take science 101, whatever. I was like, I didn't want any science.
Yeah.
I want nothing. Psychology. I didn't want psychology.
I always had a problem with the prerequisites.
It's bullshit. It's to make money.
Yeah.
It's garbage.
Because at college, it's like Mike said.
It's big business.
It's a big business. You're paying to go there. And they treat you as if they're doing you a favor.
Yeah.
I've had arguments with professors because I felt like they weren't doing enough for me. And I'm like, I'm paying to be here. You're supposed to be here for me. I'm not here for you. That's right. There was a buzzing sound going off.
Okay, continue talking.
Yeah, go ahead. Mike's going to check it out.
But that was...
we'll try to be less boring, Mike, while you check that out.
No problem.
But the biggest misconception, I think, of college is people think of it as like a public service.
Yes.
When really it's a business. And
It's
you
a
have
business.
to treat it like a business. I mean, I didn't go away to school, so I didn't have as much of the partying. But
Yeah.
when I went to go visit my friends away at school, that's what everybody likes about college.
The social
I get to
environment.
party,
Yeah.
I could drink every night, all that stuff.
Well, you're a New York kid, right?
Yes.
So, like you said, you went to Farrell. I went to Tottenville when I was in high school. I can't imagine it was too different. But you partied in high school.
Yeah.
You had to. I mean, we're New York-based kids. You've had keg parties in high school. You've had these things. And as a guy who went away to Michigan State, I felt that everyone else was behind my curve already. I was already bored with that party scene because I had done it in high school, growing up in a city, being able to go to the city, being able to go to these things because there's a little more freedom. We're a little more grown up. If you grew up in New York, I think you grew up a little faster.
Yeah.
You don't notice it because you grew up here. But then when you leave here, like I went away to Michigan State. I realized how behind everyone was socially than I was already at that point.
What are you guys talking about?
Keg parties.
You're a liar. I heard everything you were saying.
No, we talked about college. We
Oh,
really
okay.
did.
Okay.
We were talking about how when you go to college, and people go to college for the social scene, and I said how
I went to CSI.
I had said how I went away. It really wasn't that big of a deal because when you grow up in New York, you already have a social scene in high school. You have keg parties. You've had wild
I
nights.
didn't do any of that.
You've been able to get into bars. You've been able to get into clubs. You've been able to go to the
I was a
city.
good boy.
Oh, stop it,
I did nothing.
please.
I wrestled.
You had an older sister. You were able to get into everywhere.
Right.
She put
Did
your
you do
foot-
drugs, Michael?
No, I did not.
Never touched a drug?
No,
Never smoked little weed? Never
No.
little green?
I drank, but no, I was not a drug guy.
Never smoked weed. A drug addict. Did I say you were a
Drug
drug?
guy.
Oh, these are
It was never my thing. I ran track in high school, so I didn't want to.
So you've never smoked weed in your life? Are you gonna?
No, I didn't smoke weed. in my
Never
life.
touched weed.
I've touched it. I've never smoked it.
You sure?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll tell a story later. Clearly you don't remember.
No, I never, ever.
April Fools! Ha 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 ha! Get terrible.
I have drank. I do enjoy a drink, but and even then, I was never a big drinker either. I'm not a big.
Quick story, real quick. Let me tell you a story.
Unless we're
Don't cut.
away.
Don't
Yeah.
cut. And if you cut my story off again like you did last week, I will
My
cut
story's
you.
good though.
It was good. Okay, well, show how much Mike doesn't drink. We were out for a friend's bachelor party, and we were drinking hard, and we're having a good time. And we were hours and hours and hours. Now, when it's all said and done, usually what happens to me, I get so tired and I sweat everything out. Mike clearly doesn't sweat everything out.
No.
So we all come back to the hotel. We're all laying in our room. All of a sudden, I just hear. My friends are like, is there a fucking velociraptor in the bathroom? And there's Mike hugging the toilet. But I have never heard anybody make that sound while throwing up. If you think I'm lying, I will bring 7 people on this podcast. The exact puke sound was 3, 2, 1. So that's just my story for the week. Okay, continue.
So, what?
Tell us a story.
Tell us a story.
Tell us your worst drunk
So-
story.
Oh, my worst.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
we
come
want
on.
to know about you.
We
We'll
could
get to
have
the
a
book, we
whole podcast of that if you get some of my friends on here. Sometimes, no.
Give me the one that pops in your head. Go. Super drunk. Go.
Oh, super drunk.
I don't remember.
There you go.
Yeah. You kind of put me on the spot right now.
That's
because maybe there's too many, but I remember there was one St. Patrick's Day, and there's actually a pretty hideous picture of me that gets brought around. I'm in a jet jersey. I'm not sure if it's this one, and the number is dirty from a car bomb that went wrong
Nice.
on it, and
Oh yeah, you can see a little stage.
Actually, this is the jersey.
This is the jersey. You can see the stage.
His jersey has a stain, but he didn't realize he was wearing the
Yeah.
jersey.
I guess I didn't get a dry clean.
I
Yeah, but now I'm also engaged too, so a lot of that stuff.
Oh,
is-
congratulations! Congratulations.
already got a congratulations from her.
Yeah, but how long have you been engaged?
A year now.
She a good girl?
She
Obviously.
is a good girl.
She's
How long
sweet.
were you together?
She's sweet. Yeah.
It's 4 years now.
4 years?
Yeah.
She from a Staten Island as well?
Yes.
She's from Staten Island. Did you grow up close together? Or what's
She actually grew up on my block.
Wow.
And then we kind of went our separate ways.
Yeah.
She moved. And then her best friend ended up starting to date one of my good friends. And I got invited to a party up at Mom. His girlfriend went away to Mom. My girlfriend's having a party. You want to come? And we said, yeah, of course we want to come. College party, girl's house, yeah. And that's when I ran into Sam. I think Samantha. And, we had a drink or two. We got to know each other again. And
you puked on her?
No, I didn't.
No.
Sorry. I was in control that night. Actually, that party actually got out of hand. Somebody got too drunk and went through. You know how like a front door, they got this little side window?
Yeah.
Somebody fell through that window.
Oh, my God. How does that happen?
I can tell you how that happens.
And then down the stairs. And
and so when did you bail Samantha out of jail after she did that?
High five her. Nice.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then, we started texting and stuff. And there kind of a little break in between that. And then that summer was when we really started.
See, that's great. That's very serendipitous. It's great. It's like, I don't really buy into like a lot of faith and stuff. But when you hear stories like that, some things are meant to be. Yeah. You were there on the same block. You went your separate ways. Somehow the universe brought you guys back together. Look at your engaged.
And ends up she grew up with all my best friends.
Yeah.
She went to St. Charles, and all the kids I met in Farrell, they went to St. Charles. So they all went, oh, doesn't Samantha Portugalo live on your block?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I think she moved now, but she used to.
Yeah.
And then, all through high school, never really saw her or anything. And then at this party, and now we're getting married.
That's great.
Now we're getting married.
It's actually a year from, we're getting married April 8th next year.
April 8th. Oh, wow. You got a whole year.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing you're really early in the wedding stage in the planning.
We're actually pretty much done with everything.
Wow. Well, look at
now
you.
we just got to...
Let me break it down. His fiance's sister is my wife's best friend.
His fiance's sister is your wife's best friend. Okay.
Yes. His wife's sister is my wife's best friend.
Okay, yes.
We're going to their wedding, his future sister-in-law's wedding, 4th of July weekend.
Yeah.
In
nice.
Mexico, yes.
Yeah. Nice.
Yes.
So that's another reason for why we're not getting married this year, too.
Oh, it's because it's another family wedding is happening in this summer.
His sisters will cut each other with that nonsense.
Oh, wait.
We don't want to steal each other's stuff.
No. It's good stuff.
Are you getting involved in the wedding, or is it really her wedding and you're just showing up in a tux?
Well, I was voicing my opinions maybe a little too much in the beginning, and
were you able to pick the color patterns?
Nope.
Men at all? No,
the one thing that I want and I'm getting is I'm going to wear a jet jersey instead of a suit jacket at the ceremony.
At the ceremony? No.
I'm getting a blue tux. I want a blue tux. That's the one thing I'm getting.
Listen, here's what you do. Here's what you do. All right, you get jet socks. No one's going to see your socks. Yeah. It's for you. It's just for you. You put them on. You know you got it. All right? And then when you could be like right at the altar, you go, hey, honey, go. Well, you're sitting down and
she walks off. What? And she walks back on. No,
that's the only thing that we even fight about is that I'm sick when it comes to football. I love all sports, but football, like, I can't. If there's a football game on, I don't care if it's Tampa Bay versus the Jacksonville Jaguars and they're both 0-10.
Yeah.
I need to watch it.
You need to
if
watch
it's on, I don't care.
It's not her thing. Or does she know the football a little bit? Is she just totally?
No, when we first started dating, she pretended. And
we all do that.
They
all do that.
She gets the ring on her finger. It's like
I don't care about football.
What? But really, she lets me watch.
Yeah.
But she kind of jokes. Her birthday was on Super Bowl Sunday, and that was her present. No more football till September.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
No, that's
just... she leaves me. She'll go. She'll do her things on Sundays. And
so she's a February. She's a Aquarius.
Yes.
Aquarius. I'm an Aquarius.
Aquarius. Anyway, sorry.
But that's great. Love is important in life. It's like you said in the book. All right. You need someone that you can even if you have these little differences with. It's part of life. Everybody's different. It's what makes us together, and hopefully it doesn't pull you apart. But it's also, I can see you're a happy guy. I see you content. I know you can't quit the day job just yet. This is your debut novel, but it's like Mike said. You started writing. Is this a completion of a life goal, or is this the start of a new beginning for you?
Well, I actually started writing the second book too.
Nice,
which is totally different from this book. It's more character.
So we'll be depressed in the beginning.
No.
Okay.
No, but this was built kind of out of my frustration for, like, I felt when I graduated college, I just thought they would prepare you. I would feel more like a man. I felt like I still feel like the same, like I'm graduating high school again. Like I don't know anything about the real world or anything. And that's, kind of built out of my frustrations. And really the only thing that you're taught is, all right, go get a job.
Yeah.
Like, all right, you did this, like you're pigeonholed into doing this for the rest of your life kind of thing, which is not true.
Yeah.
And I just said, you know what, I started writing, and the first chapter was actually a blog I was going to write, and then I, fixed it up a little bit for this book, and I just
it opened strong. It opened strong with the memories of being young and how you're right. It's like almost that song, the Blurryface song. It's like everything in life is a possibility when you're young. Yeah. You have so many. You see the world and you see people doing things, and you're like, well, if they could do things, I could do things. You don't see the hurdles. You don't see the limits in your way until they teach you the limits and the hurdles. Well, actually, and you start believing that you're limited.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually read a book by James Altucher. I don't know if you ever heard of him. I follow his blog. He's a great. He writes funny, and he wrote a book called Choose Yourself. And he said, in this day and age, there's no more gatekeepers, is what he called it. Like, you guys want to start a podcast? You start it. That's it.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't take off, but you're doing something you love, and you guys don't care about getting paid in the beginning. You just and he kind of inspired me. He actually, if you see right here, I actually reached out to him, and he wrote me.
He's the one that wrote the book.
Yeah, he wrote me a little something right here. But he's
never forget when you're running out of time. The most important time is right now. Brendan Morello gets it, which is the character in the book. Brendan Morello.
So he his whole thing is go for it. You got to bet on yourself, and the payout is so much better. And that's what I kind of the message of the book is. Where if you can get up every day and do something you love, like if I could be a full-time author, then, I'm not really working. I like doing it, and, money is important, but would you rather work a job where you're working 80 to 100 hours a week, making a ton of money, or making less money, but you have more time to do what you love, and you're doing what you love?
Well, it's what led me after I was laid off and the company was bought to go into TV and film, because it was something we were doing as a hobby. We was putting on plays. I was putting my own money into our own projects, and I said, you know what? If I'm going to make a living, why don't I try to at least be I'm not the head directors or the writers, but I'm in the business that I love. So it led me down that path as well. Now obviously I'm a cog in the wheel. I'm a grunt in the movie industry, but I enjoy my job now. I enjoy it a lot more than I used to going into a lab. And a part of it is a day job. A part of it is paying my monthly mortgage, because the most important thing in my life right now, besides my work or myself, is my commitment to my family, making sure my kids have enough, making sure they have the roof over their heads. But if I can actually be in an industry I enjoy at the same time, well, why the hell not? Why did I think I couldn't do this? And all it took was trying to get it done. And so what I like about this book is there's a lot of revelations or affirmations, I almost called it, about this. You can read this book chapter to chapter every day, a little chapter, where you can even actually, the way your book is set up, you can actually just go to any chapter you want if you're feeling a certain way a certain day and read it. And it's almost like a story, but it's also almost like a self-help book at the same time. Because there's so many good daily affirmations in this book, or reaffirmations of what you know is true in life. But you convince yourself you don't have the time for it, or you forget. So, I think you achieved your goal when it came to this book.
I think this book, well, just guys like us, it'll connect to a certain group. A group that maybe isn't family-oriented, or isn't really a dreamer, or has any aspiration to do anything, but just, floating through life, might not like the book. But with me, it's like everything you said at certain points it popped in my head. It reminded me of something. Maybe not the same pizzeria. Maybe not the same situation with the grandfather and the grandmother. But at the same time, it all revolved around something that I've dealt with, or it's been in my life. Like what he was saying before, the whole you don't come to work, da-da-da-da-da. From high school, I went to college very simply to be pretty much one of the only siblings that went to college in my family. Mm-hmm. So I had little moral victories that I enjoyed. There was that. I wanted to be a pro wrestler. Never got on the big screen, but I did it for many years. I wrestled in front of hundreds of people, in a ring, wrestling just like the WWE. Hey, you know what? When I grew older, I tried it. I went for it. I wanted to be an actor and a writer. We did some films, short films. We didn't make a lot of money, but we were nominated. Our films were played, and a lot of people saw our films that didn't know us. So that was a little accomplishment. Then I wanted to really do it, and I said, the only thing I'm good at is taking a beating. So I said, I can begin to stunts. So slowly but surely, I started doing some stunt stuff. Now, again, not huge. I'm still involved with it, but at the same time, I at least, it may not, none of that stuff may ever come out where I will do it for a living, and that's all I'll be able to do. It may never happen, but I will never die with, I wish I tried something. Yeah. I tried everything I wanted to try. So that's why maybe I'm such a happy son of a bitch.
Yeah. This goal is still one that I want to accomplish. I would love to write a piece of fiction, a novel. I mean, I have a book of poems I had published millions of years ago, but that to me almost doesn't count because I was just a collection of stuff I used to write in high school. Like I feel, I'm a feeling teenager. I don't know how to express myself.
I read one of his poems.
But and like Mike said, we've written screenplays, but there's something about writing a novel all to yourself that is daunting to me. Now I've written like Mike said, we've written 120-page screenplays. I know a little bit of having to sit down and write. But what was your process like? What did you have to do to find the time to do this? Like while you were working, did you make time after? Like how did you get this accomplished?
Just to go back to, I just want to say I listened to the first podcast after Mike asked me about the show. And you said something about being a doer, and you give somebody a project and they don't work on it. You kind of got to be your own disciplinarian kind of thing, and you say, "Oh, I don't have time." Everybody has time because you go home and you watch Netflix for 5 hours in a row. So you could not be watching Netflix. So I just I would come home every day after work, take a shower, and I get home from work fairly early. So like from 4:30 till I eat dinner at like 6:30, I would just bunker down.
Yeah. Were there days where the words weren't coming?
Yeah. I would say the reason this took actually longer than it should have, I would keep rereading my work, trying to perfect like changing like one word in a sentence and things like that.
But that's important, rewriting. You can't. I don't think anyone, if you put it down on paper the first time, when it comes to this medium, that can't be enough if you're serious about it.
Well, actually, and again, you said this, I don't know if it was the first or the second podcast, you have to do something every day.
Yeah.
It's like working out. If you go to the gym one day and you go, wow, I feel good, and then you don't go back for 2 weeks, what you did was worthless because you forget it. So it's kind of like same thing training, and it's actually funny. The guy who edited the book, I wrote chapter 14 last. And I gave that to him to edit because I wanted to put it into the book, and he said, this is the best written chapter that.
Yeah.
Which chapter 4? Remind chapter 14.
Chapter 14.
That's the one about my sister.
Okay.
Again, still based off truths of, growing up with my youngest sister.
How many siblings do you have?
I just have the one little baby sister.
The one little baby. So you're the big one. You're the firstborn.
Yes.
The prince.
Yeah.
That made me feel that one episode, Jesus. That one chapter where the baby sleeping on your sister sleeping on the floor next to you, Didn't remind me of my little sister, reminded me of my little brother. Because my little brother wanted to come everywhere. I mean, you remember my little brother.
Yeah.
Wanted to come everywhere with us. Everywhere. Every chance he could. And it actually made me, like I said, at some points it made me feel fucking bad, like I'm an asshole. But I remember when I was like, I need you, get out. Like, I want to get alone time. Mostly it was just because I wanted to watch porn. But it's real talk, I'm not going to lie. All right, it's weird, you got to get out now, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, by the way, I read the book. Because some people said, you didn't read that whole book. I go, I swear to God, I read the whole book. Like, I really did. And that was one of the things, I'm not going to say straight from the beginning of the chapter, but that one part was like visual in my head. So let me tell you one thing, that's what I want to let you know, that's definitely going to do that to a lot of people. Oh, even if it's just one sentence. That's all I want.
Your sister doing all right?
Yeah, she's doing great. She's actually she's getting ready to graduate college.
Yeah.
She's going for her master's for speech pathology.
Oh, that's great. Right.
Yeah, so she's at Kean University. And
Kean? That's across from
Kean, whatever the heck.
Yeah, that's across from where I used to work. Which is now the Merck labs.
By the way, real talk, I don't know if he actually ever worked when he did that job. Because we would talk on the phone for like 3
when you're in a lab,
hours.
it's a lot of setup, and then the machines are running the tests. All right, and in the meantime, you do have some downtime. So don't worry.
3
Where
hours.
I work, we have labs too. I don't work in the lab part, but we actually had a lab mouse get into where we work one day. And freaked out all the women in
That's
the
so funny.
office. We had a corner.
Was it toxic or anything?
No,
But supposedly these mice cost a lot of money.
Yes.
We weren't allowed to kill it. They're like, don't, whatever you do, don't kill the
the
mice.
research.
Why? Explain, people.
Because when you're doing research on animals,
Why is that mouse so expensive?
because it has the drug in it.
Oh, yeah.
And you're observing that mouse for a drug that's costing your company
What if it
millions
just
to do
gets there?
R&D.
What if it's
I
a
think
fresh
they
mouse?
said that mouse was worth $150,000.
Get the fudge!
I swear to God.
Yeah.
$150,000 mouse.
Dude, he writes in the book about the pharmaceutical industry. Now I know why, because he worked in the pharmaceutical industry. But everything he wrote about the R&D is true. The reason why drugs cost the way they do is because they put so much research behind drugs. And a lot of that research fails. Not all these drugs are going to go to market.
Yeah.
And you only have a limited window before your patent runs out and you can make generics. Right? So there's only a limited amount of window where you can maximize your profit or maximize the money that you can make back on a medicine. And that the medicine you're selling isn't trying to make back the money that you spent on that medicine. It's the money you're trying to make back on the last 10 medicines that failed before it as well. And you mentioned you have a big chapter about that in the book. So when they say the mouse is $150,000, it's because the research R&D is what makes a pharmaceutical company. If you don't have the hot, fresh drug, your company's going to either get bought for its resources or it's going under.
I don't lie, that may be one of the things I read fast through.
Yeah. Like Sherry Plow was a huge company because of Claritin. It was a major allergy medication, better than anything else that ever made, loratadine. But then they kind of sat on their hands and didn't do anything. And then they got so lackadaisical, they got in trouble with the FDA. They got into something called the consent decree, where they had to pay back a ton of money. They got a new CEO in that pared down the lab and got it ready to be sold because he knew their R&D pipeline had nothing. So, and that's exactly what he did. And that's when Merck swept in and we still have all these nice brand names, Nasonex, Claritin, we can make money out of. We already have our own labs. You have a nice infrastructure we don't have to spend a lot of money on. We'll buy you out. And that's the story of what happened to Schering Plow because they could not come up with the next product. So they went from being the number 3 pharmaceutical company in the world to now just being a part of another company.
To being dead.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I think the pharmaceutical chapter, at least, I think it's a thing a lot of people can relate to. And I think, like the big media, they do a disservice to these pharmaceutical companies because it is kind of BS that, someone's sick and they got to pay, for $150,000 for these medicines.
Oh, yeah, no, that part I remember.
Yeah.
I don't think the medicines would be there if they couldn't charge that price.
No, they wouldn't be.
They wouldn't spend the money. So
No.
it's like you can't just say one thing without having the other.
Yeah.
There's
a balancing
It's not a simple answer.
It's definitely not. I definitely get it, but it also, at the same time, like you say, so some of these medicines, especially if you don't have insurance, are so expensive. So if you don't have money, die. It's you know what I'm saying?
But here's the thing about medical costs: they can't charge you interest.
No.
So you can actually get charged thousands of dollars, and the companies will hound you.
Yeah.
But they cannot. They don't charge you interest, and they don't affect your credit rating if you can't pay back medical.
This is
costs.
what I always said. Why
so there are laws protecting people from.
Why can't people that work on medicine, people that work on making medication, why can't their scenario be? Ready for this? Was my big idea. They get their houses for free. Okay. They get their salaries. They don't pay taxes. Da 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 da. And they're working on it and all that stuff. They get all these free things in life, and then they don't have to charge that much to make the medicine.
But they're still gonna have to charge that much to make the medicine.
Why?
Materials, people. It takes more than just one person to make.
Trade a bag of rice.
But Mike, there's other things that go into I work in the patent and trademark part, and we have tons of attorneys all over the world. We got to fly these people to South Korea to protect our patent, or to China. It's a major operation.
Everybody should be making medicine for free to give everybody to be healthy.
But
it's all about money, you
The world doesn't work that way. It doesn't.
Because then if you bring it down to a lower level, that's saying, an attorney who works for a pharmaceutical company should take X when other attorneys make Y, which is way greater than X.
Well, here's the thing. There are certain people that, like college professors, that do research and grants, and these people aren't working for companies. And every once in a while, they'll make a breakthrough, and it'll help a lot of people.
Oh, the big business will crush it.
But or a pharmaceutical company will come in and buy it.
And never put it out.
But no, they'll put it out. If there's a way to make money, they'll put it out.
Like a cure, they usually get rid of cures.
They don't.
Well, I don't think that, because that's my biggest pet peeve when people say, "Oh, they have the cure to cancer, but they don't want to come out with it." Why? That's printing money.
Yeah, it's printing money.
Print money.
Wait. Okay, here we go. Here's the cure for cancer. We're going to fake it. It's a pill. Let's just pretend.
Okay. Vaccine.
This pill, right? This pill is $20,000. Okay. There you go. How much money do you think somebody going through cancer for a few years spends between insurance and everything? Way more than $20,000. You're going to spend more to keep a disease at point so you can live longer. Than
There's other things that. So say you have Mike's pharmaceutical company. He has
Mike's pharmaceutical
Mike's other pharmaceutical.
I'm stealing
company.
your
Like
patent.
Vince. How do I know? Okay, I found this, and I'm gonna put it on the shelf. How do I know you're not gonna find it and then come out with it and then put me out of business?
Yeah. It's a very competitive market. Extremely.
Here's the thing.
I think there's a problem. I agree there's a problem.
Yeah, remember,
but I think that they're not going about trying to find a solution.
Listen, I hate to bring it all about cancer because right now I feel there's a big epidemic.
This is a nice big breakthrough in cancer that happened in October.
Yeah, wait.
Which we
Don't
can
worry.
talk about.
We'll talk about it in a minute. There's a big. I can't speak right now. Academic. Autism. Okay. It's like now it's like 1 out of every 5 or 6 kids have autism. It's very, very, very scary, and they just keep more medications. Now I know they don't got a cure for that because they don't even know exactly what causes it. They know where it sits. They where it is. But I feel like if they ever found something that would be able to like at least make that child like if it has the brain of a 3-year-old, maybe the brain of a 6, 7-year-old, people would be very happy with that. But the thing is, the amount of money you spend.
But you're also
crazy.
assuming that everybody is unethical. So it's one thing to say the big heads in the pharmaceutical company only care about the stock price and everything. But then you're saying all these guys in the lab that are working like, wow, we can
not
really
to be from the lab. No.
But then you have to keep them quiet
You
too.
can't. Yeah, if you work in the lab and you make this, you don't have the right to put it out. It's not yours. You're just working on it. The company you work for. So if you try to do that, they will sue you. They will shut it down, and legally you're not allowed. So you say, I have this. Now you can go, because we've heard people now here and then, it seems to disappear after a while, saying, well, they have this here, and it's not an exact cure, but my God, it's better than out there. Why isn't it out there? A big company came in, Like, everybody can't be lying about that. Not everybody. I'm not saying it's, this big conspiracy.
Like a new thing that came out, I don't know what he was going to talk about, but it's called, and I talk about it in the book, immuno-oncology.
Yeah.
And it's really, they're wiping out the old business that they used to do.
I do not think they have a cure for cancer. I'm not saying they do, by the way.
Yeah.
And I'm not a conspiracy.
Well,
I'm just saying.
I think the problem with cancer, and the same thing as autism, and you could probably speak to this, it's more than just like a simple thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Like cancer in him, or I don't want to punch you, but somebody who has cancer and then somebody else, like it's caused by different things. It's different.
Yeah.
One type of cancer is different than another. Same thing with autism. You have people who could be highly functioning, members of society, and you have people who can't speak.
Yeah.
Who have it.
Yeah, and it's a very complicated issue. It's got myriad people involved in it, and like I said, myriad ethics involved in it. We can only hope that that they're working towards what's best for not only just their pockets, but also what's best for their customers and for the world.
Absolutely.
But going back to the book, in terms of the book, is your protagonist was a guy that was only a money-oriented guy, and he came from a good place. He got a job which he didn't enjoy. Then he started his own business, thinking it was going to help him have more time with his family. But he ended up spending more time in his own business to make money until he discovers, after he does get cancer, which isn't a big spoiler because it's how the book opens.
Yeah.
The main character gets cancer and he totally reevaluates it where he is in life, and it leads to a lot of reflection in the book. And basically, it comes down to family is where the value's at. And a little family story. I am tonight is my wife's surprise 40th birthday.
Oh, you don't read? Okay.
This is going to be posted. This is going to be posted after the party. But
surprise.
But in terms of that, I have a very special gift for her, which is I got off her voicemail recordings of her mother wishing and singing her a happy birthday. Her mother died a couple of years ago.
When did you decide to do this?
And we're going to play it a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to play, I'm going to have it played tonight. And hopefully it's tears of joy because of remembrance. But this book was reminding, it was as I was reading it, I kept thinking of those that have passed and things. And there was a part in the book where your character does give a eulogy. And very recently I had to give my own eulogy to my uncle. And you grow up in an Italian family. I didn't grow up with a lot of money. My Uncle Bob was like a second father to me because we grew up in the same house, grew up with his kids as if they were my sisters. And when you have to do something like that, it was good and it was bad. It was good because it actually took my mind off his death because I was so worried about being respectful and doing the right thing by the eulogy that I didn't really have time to grieve. But it was also bad in the case that his death has stuck with me. It's been 6 months now. There's not a day that goes by where I don't feel like it's stuck. Like there's a piece of it that's stuck there. You know, whether it's through dreams or whether it's through. It's almost like I didn't have enough time to be sad, and you don't want to spend your whole life miserable.
Yeah.
But it was. It also didn't help that he died in his home, and I was one of the first people there to my aunt's house to help my aunt out, and he was up there in his bed, and it's different when your family member dies and you just go to the wake, and then when you actually go to where they're laying in the clothes they slept in and totally non-responsive and just cold, and it does awaken you to the fact that we are only here for a certain amount of time. And it's important to reflect on what type of person you really want to be every once in a while. And it shouldn't only happen when deaths happen or birthdays happen or this, but at the same token, it's a moment of the book that I found very true, and it made me remember that. And not to make this has been like the miserable podcast.
No.
Even though I think we've
Have you noticed I've not made fun of you while you're doing this?
No, but
because it's actually very nice, and I'm listening to it.
If
you don't like what he just said, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said at the beginning of the show, we're not a comedy show.
No.
We're a true show.
I just happen to be funny.
We happen to be, because we're friends. And we want to, and life is about life. Life, like I said, love is love. Life is life. It's about everything. And this show, like I said, we will talk about everything. And this is the part of everything. This is the real world. There's heartbreak in our lives. I've lived on this earth now for 39 years. I've known many family members that have died. And my uncle is probably the first one after my grandfather, who died in 98, who is the closest to me, that I feel that it's something that, and it's still new, it's only 6 months, but I still feel that aura like I've never felt before when I've lost a family member. That unwillingness to let go, that it sticks to me daily. And it actually made me feel for my wife's losses, because she lost her parents even though they were older. And she always, my wife was like, she said how she constantly misses her mother, how she constantly misses her father. My wife's 40 now, and you think you have some type of, if you're younger, you think there's some type of magical reflection as you get older, that you just accept these things that happen in your life. And you're not. And my grandmother said it when my great-grandmother died. My great-grandmother died, she was 90, and my grandmother was, at the time, 70. And I remember her saying at that funeral, I feel like I'm 10 years old. And it's my mother and that, and she felt, you know what I mean?
My grandmother,
that sadness doesn't go away.
My great-grandmother, she died at 90.
Yeah.
Well, 89, actually, and that's when my grandmother, she died too soon.
Yeah.
My grandmother was, late 60s at the time.
Yeah.
And she said she died too soon, and she could have been 120, and it still would have been too soon.
Yeah.
It's like, with me, like, I mean, not everybody knows, but the people that do know me know my grandmother it's my grandmother. Like, I'm not going to say who I love the most, I love them all, but my grandmother is 81, and I don't have much patience with people with my grandmother. I don't, I don't. That's something that I will not say out loud when the day comes. We just won't. Just know that I know she is like, she's my heart. She's the top. She's like everything. So that was something in here. Like, I don't tear up. I'm not a bitch. But I did. Like, it's just like, okay, then the grandmother. You know what I'm saying? And then, listen, I just want to say that I really like this book. Thinking about it now. See, I'm like, when I see a movie the first time, I got to watch it again. I'm probably not going to read the book twice because I don't have the mental capacity to do that. Listen, he's the small one on here. I'm the funny one. It's like I said, this book, man, is a great accomplishment. It really, for me anyway, I can't speak about anyone else, but clearly Michael as well. At every point in this book, something I felt that it was me. At every point, somewhere in this book, one of my favorite things, and again, was a very simple thing saying that, ready for this? This is why we're wearing Jets jerseys.
Yeah.
Yes.
That he, in the book, the character just wants to be buried in his Jets jersey and his sweatpants. Sweatpants, Jets jersey.
I got jeans.
I have shorts. I couldn't find sweatpants.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I'm like, and I said, and I texted you as soon as I finished it. I said, that one too, like, fuck yeah. Like, why do I want to be buried in some expensive fucking suit? I want to be buried where I'm comfortable. Even though it brings a lot of misery through the year. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But my goal with this book and the way that I tried to write it, the way using, curse words and, just not fancy SAT words was to be relatable.
Yes, it was.
You don't want to lose people. You want to see, like, it's supposed to be this guy's thoughts at night when he's sitting down and he's writing it. Probably typing it on a computer now because but it's supposed to be like, wow, I could think that way, or even if you don't have the direct experience, you can understand what he's going through. But I want to go back to another point again because the first podcast when you were talking about being a doer, as the chapter about the main character's grandfather, he was always saying, I'm a doer, not a watcher.
Yes.
And you can always find time. And back to the grandparents thing, go see your grandparents.
Yeah.
Call them up on the phone and say, hey, you'll make their day. And it takes 10 minutes out of your day while you're driving home from work. And they say, wow, my grandson called me today. And she'll tell all her girlfriends when they meet,
Does your grandmother call you? Oh, does she call you like her Vincent or her Vinny?
My mom's mom, she has made no secret that I'm the favorite.
Oh, me too, baby. High five. Sorry, it's the fact she loves me the most.
And my mom always says, you can't say that. And she goes, oh. But because I call her all the time. I go visit her. I take her to get her hair done. Yeah. And death is so final, like you said. So if you didn't do that, so you say, next time.
Yeah, we're running a little long.
That's fine.
So, next time I'll do it, and then maybe there's not a next time.
Exactly.
And that's the urgency I was trying to bring by making so morbid with the character getting cancer.
Yeah.
And he looks back and he says, well, I got rid of my job to have more family time, so what's my excuse now? I have the money, and I still didn't do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you could always find a new excuse why you're not doing something.
Exactly.
There's always an excuse not to. You're right. There's always an excuse not to.
And you just gotta, whether anything you want to do in life, you just gotta sit down and do it for yourself. Say, listen, I wanna write a book. I want to start a podcast. I want to run a marathon. Whatever you want to do. Yeah. And if you can make money from it, that's that's great too.
I always attributed. We talked about this, the audience of one theory. You do things for an audience of one, which is yourself.
Absolutely.
And since you're a human being, there's got to be other people out there that relate to you. This has to. There's too many numbers.
Then we're gonna be signing off. We want to know, how can people get your book? Like, first and foremost.
It's available iUniverse.com, but it's also available Amazon, Barnes & Noble, pretty much anywhere you could buy books. It's not in an actual Barnes & Noble or bookstore, but you can get it on Kindle, Nook, download on your iPhone, whatever you want. And
how did you go about getting it published?
Well, this is actually, iUniverse is a self-publishing company. Okay. So I was told, I did a lot of research, and they were saying nowadays they don't want to publish first-time authors. Yeah. It's very hard. They want to see you have a little success with this on your own. They say, wow, this kid sold a couple thousand books on himself. Let's put some money behind it and see what can go. So it minimizes their risk.
Yes.
So I just bet on myself. Actually, my uncle put me in contact with a guy who wrote 3 books self-published, and he was really, because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to go through with this. What are people going to think? When you think that way? And he said, screw it, man. Just go for it. He said, you had fun, right? Worst case scenario, you had fun doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. How'd you get in touch with the editor? You mentioned that you had a...
Well, I put it on a site, and I paid.
You paid for the editor? Yeah. That's fine. Yeah,
I keep in contact with this guy. He loved the cover because I showed him. He said, who did the art?
I was about to say, it's very important to have an editor. It's always important to have that other set of eyes. You don't have to agree with every note he makes, but it does help you. We talked about this. Having limits actually helps you artistically.
Yeah. But also, like, I had my mother read it, Samantha, my fiance, read it, my aunt. They love me.
You need a straight.
But then again, I feel like they would. They don't want you to put out something that's
it's also, especially with this book, because it's very personal.
Yeah.
So I assume they like me, So they know me and they like the way I think too.
Yeah.
I want to say I just met you. I'm very proud of you. I'm very happy that you're one of the doers. That you can count yourself as one of them. I'm looking very forward to your next novel. I wish you a lot of success with Dying to Live. I really hope people reach out to www.iuniverse.com, or like you said, even look it up on any electronic site that you want to buy from, Kindle, ebooks, Amazon.com. Vincent J. Monteleone, Dying to Live. It's been a pleasure, Vin.
Thank you.
I hope we'll have you again on your next book, or your next thing. Or even if you get
anytime, you guys.
If you get a book signing,
Jets or anything.
Yeah,
we didn't get to talk about Jets, but we will next time.
Football season's coming. We got fantasy football things coming on.
The draft is coming.
The draft is coming.
He's extreme.
And maybe we'll get a different side of Vinny.
Well, the fantasy football is going to be coming soon, and we'll do something with the family. We will.
And I was about to say, if you have any book signings that happen, if you feel free to post them on our page, just let us know. We will help you. We'll help get the word out as well.
Baruch's actually starting to help me big time now. I just met with the president of the Alumni Association.
Nice.
Good.
So, now I'm starting to get, Farrell's going to do something for me too, so.
It's like you said,
I'm
you got to push.
excited now
Again.
again.
Absolutely.
I'm getting excited now again. I reached out to, I paid them both tuition. They should,
absolutely.
Plus, I'm an alumni. You should look good,
We're happy to be part of your promotional push right here. This is great.
Yeah, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you for being our first guest, popping our cherry.
Popping my cherry.
Yes,
we'll always have that.
It's always fun to do.
You always have
make sure to mention that at the wedding.
That's right. It's nice and bloody and gushy up in here. But, nasty. Did you figure out a sign-off, Mike?
Oh, I did.
Yeah. So we're going to say goodbye now, guys.
All right, everybody. And, no, I don't have a sign-off. Of course I don't have a sign-off.
What do you mean?
You told me you wanted to be natural, so I thought of something off my head.
No. You're Mr. Catchphrase. All right, Mr. You want to be the Rock. Mr.
Well, this is 2 mics, 1 mic, and we're signing off. Vin, thanks for being here. We'll see you next week. Sayonara, sucker!
Bye.
When I'm alone, I sit and cry. I know the time has passed me by. I see the rivers they are crossed. I see the wars they too are lost. Sometimes I wonder where I've been. Sometimes I feel I'm on the outside looking in. I know I've looked, I lost and found. I only wish I knew where I was bound. Right now I feel so all alone. No friends, no family that I can call my own. I see the past, the end is near. I see no future, makes times oh so unclear.